rAVe Radio. With rants and raves, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is rants and raves with Gary.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rants and Raves. I'm Steph Beckett, and joining me on this episode for our post-ISE edition, this is Chris Tiga from Epson. So first of all, Chris, how are you? How did ISE treat you guys this year?
ISE was incredible. I mean, it was my first ISE, so to be able to see, the Pro AV world at that level was pretty impressive. It was really cool.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that was your first
Yeah,
ISE. What an ISE to be
yeah,
your
I
first
know,
one.
I
It's the
know.
busiest one there's ever
It
been.
was wild. I mean, I've done a lot of CESs, which kind of is about the same volume, but it was impressive. I've done several infocoms, right? And this is just on a different level, so it was really great to do
Total
it.
different
Yeah.
level. Yeah. So one of the big focal points in your booth this year was this immersive installation that was absolutely incredible. I'm gonna put a mark on this clip so that we can make sure to show people a picture of this. But it was called Infinity. So what was the inspiration behind adding this to your booth rather than doing like a traditional product display?
Well, I mean, projection is such a key part of creating art, especially immersive art, and being able to create a technology that kind of disappears so that the art can actually, shine is really what it's about in the projection world. So creating an art installation in a booth at ISC where really the projectors aren't the highlight was really the key, I think, there. And what was really cool about that particular art installation was that it was subtly talking about projection without being in your face, right? You're standing inside a
Yeah.
light beam, right? It's a beam of light. And they did a really cool job because it really got a lot of attention. You can walk by anywhere and you can kind of see it off in the distance, and it drew you in with all the multiple colors and paneling that they used. And as soon as you walked in and you look down into the mirror, you can kind of feel like you're in this infinite space of light, which I think, again, is a subtle call to projection. So.
Yeah, no, it was really awesome. And you guys also brought a 30,000 lumen 4K projector to this show. So, how is that product in particular kind of reframing expectations for brightness, for form factor, for install complexity, things like that?
So, I mean, 30Ks, I wouldn't say traditionally, but most 30Ks today are roughly 150, 160 pounds. These are very large,
Yeah.
objects to move around. The deployment is relatively difficult. You're talking about multiple people, scissor lifts, things like that. The projector that we're launching this year is the EVXQ 2030B. And this is a 30,000 lumen projector that weighs roughly 80 pounds. It's probably half the size as the standard 30K is today. So, on top of being, incredibly small, lightweight, relatively, it really supports deployment. You can get 30,000 lumens in places you couldn't do that before. So, that's a big part of it. And obviously, with a projector this bright, we wanted to make sure it had incredible image quality as well. So, we bumped up, native contrast ratios. It's a 4K resolution projector. So this projector really, I believe, is going to change, how people look at projection moving forward.
Absolutely. And you guys also had this entire area showcasing your lenses and showcasing your application demos. So, is this kind of signaling, like with all of the curved and blended projection options that there are today, is this kind of signaling that projection really should be and should stay the centerpiece of immersive venues?
Yeah, I mean, projection really has a unique benefit when it comes to immersive, right? It's easier to deploy. There's many
Mm-hmm.
spaces, of course, in a world of DV/LED and lots of technologies. They all play a role in this immersive space. But projection in particular can do things like architectural mapping, doing things where you don't have to modify or really manipulate your environment to create a very impressive space. So, with all the new lenses, like our 90-degree short throw, we're able again to support deployment in places you couldn't before.
Absolutely. And you guys, one of the things that's really great about you is that you guys have kind of worked to remove one of projection's historic big friction points, which is mirroring and getting the content to play, because you guys support AirPlay.
Yeah.
So how important is native wireless sharing, especially AirPlay, when it comes to being competitive in education and being competitive in corporate?
I think, yeah, one of the biggest aspects of sharing and these types of technologies is making sure that we're in the forefront of these technologies, especially with a company like Apple, being able to partner with such a powerhouse in these types of environments allows us to continually improve our projectors. You know, they have requirements for their technology like AirPlay that push us in terms of having the latest and greatest, you know, Wi-Fi chips and chipsets and things like that. So not only does it allow us to provide the latest technologies and you know, sharing like Apple AirPlay 2, but it also enables these projectors to be far more advanced than they would if not having these partnerships.
Absolutely. And do you think that AirPlay is about convenience, or do you think that it's about like repositioning projection as like a more seamless collaboration tool?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, in the applications that we've seen, it's really simplified, you know, connectivity within the school or, you know, university where teachers don't have to worry about connecting their Macs to the pedestal that they have. They can just, you know, find a projector and shoot it, you know, and have it work. And then, you know, if they need to, they can share passwords with their students so they can share their own stuff as well. So this is new for projection. There's not a lot of solutions out there that have native AirPlay. So we're still seeing how it is, but the excitement that we've seen so far has been pretty enlightening. So.
Yeah, awesome. What are you guys focusing on over the next few months as we prepare for InfoComm of what you can announce so far?
I mean, it's going to be, you know, ISE kind of leads the way in the year in terms of the messaging and things like that. So what you see, we're probably going to try and, you know, try and do as well. I don't know if we'll be able to kind of match what they did because they did such an incredible job, but I think you'll see that 30K will kind of we'll be showing the 30K, of course, in a way that you haven't seen yet. So we're excited for that. We'll have the lenses as well. So we're going to do our best to kind of, you know, match up to what ISE was able to bring. But you'll see some of the same technologies at InfoComm.
Awesome. If anyone wants to know more about the 30K or anything else we talked about during this call, where should they go?
Epson.com. We have, you know, information there that you guys can learn more about our new product coming in, and you'll be seeing more information as we get closer to InfoComm.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. This has been another episode of Rants and Raves. And if you want to look at the rest of our ISE coverage or any of the product videos of anything that Chris mentioned, you can do so at ravepubs.com/ISE. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Rave Radio. With rants and raves, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is rants and